Wow, this is a spectacular occasion. I am so excited to be able to welcome all of you here, and I want to recognize Costa Constantides, who I've known since his assembly member days, or city council days, and I want to thank you for being the driver of change in this neighborhood. And what we're going to be talking about is nothing short of extraordinary, something that I know has been in the hearts of many of you for a long time, and I'm really excited about this. I also want to acknowledge our Deputy Majority Leader, Senator Mike Gianaris is here. Senator Kristen Gonzalez has joined us. Assembly Member Zohran Mamdani has joined us. And Donovan Richards, your borough president. Welcome to the future home, what'll be the largest Boys and Girls Club in the entire state. Today, more than 4,000 young New Yorkers already call this their home. That's already a huge number. But in New York, we like to go big. Go big or go home, I say. How does serving 16,000 young people with a brand new 14-story facility sound? And I have to give a special shout out filled with love for our former speaker, Peter Ballone. His connection, his father, Charles Ballone, 70 years ago, was one of the people in this community who stood up and said, we've got to have a place for kids to hang out. They've got to have a productive place and have adult supervision. And he was one of the drivers of this. So to have him here today, witnessing this incredible announcement that puts us on a path to having this facility refurbished, revitalized, and renewed after 70 years. Let's give a special round of applause. Please get on your feet and recognize his leadership. You know, it was back in 1955. A story was known as New York's Greek Town. Well, that's it. Okay. But now, it is one of the most diverse places in our entire state. Oh, the Greeks are still here. A lot of Italians are still here, but the whole world is here. They've discovered how fascinating this community is, and I know that's really special. You're all so proud of it. And I want to make sure that we continue this pride in community. People from almost 100 nations live right here. So you don't know who your neighbor is, but they're going to be someone really interesting, someone you never thought you would have encountered. That's the beauty of New York, which is why I cherish this place. We have neighborhoods like this, and it truly is a global melting pot. And again, how much we've grown in the last 70 years, but something has not changed. Our young people still need creative outlets, right? They need a place to go. We do not want them in the streets because sometimes trouble lurks in the streets. Bring them indoors. Give them a place to just get to be friends with each other. And I'm also going to say this as someone who's so proud of what we did in our schools. Put down the cell phones and talk to each other. Make some friends in person. We need this supportive, nurturing environment. And also, as New York's first mom governor, does anybody know that? I say it like 100 times a day. But it gives me a perspective that those who came before me just didn't have about how important it is to get those environments for our young kids and let them know they have a place that's theirs, that they belong, no matter what's happening at home. And not every home life is just pristine and nurturing and wonderful. Sometimes kids have a hard life at home, and this can be their home away from home. And that's what we've offered for 70 years and going to continue for the next 70 years. We want to make sure that every family has an opportunity to thrive. And we're going to also focus on what's important to families in New York. And I know we've talked a lot about affordability, and I want to thank Assembly Member Zohran Mamdani for putting a special exclamation point on how hard it is for families struggling in this city and why affordability measures are so critically important. And I focus on this as well with my partners in state government. We started our last year out saying we have to do more. Inflation is just crushing our families. So went back to the drawing board. What can we do to put more money back in people's pockets? We now have the largest tax rate cut for the middle class in 70 years, going back to the beginning of this program. We also tripled the middle class, or the tax cut for families, the tax credit. Now, when I first became governor, you know how much families could count on in their tax credit for newborns up to age 4? 0. Somebody, clearly not a mom, decided before me that, oh, you don't really need help with paying for kids' expenses until they hit 4 years old. Oh, you don't need to buy diapers and formula and the little outfits that they grow literally every 3 months. So, okay, we turned that around. Now those families, as of this year in our budget, can count on $1,000, $1,000 for every child under the age of 4, $500 for the older kids. That's going to help families a lot. Also, statewide, free breakfast and lunches for every child across the entire state of New York. And you know what? A lot of happy parents are not in there first thing in the morning like I was, slopping together some oatmeal or some toast, or we see Crafton Crunch. I know it's not healthy anymore. But just making breakfast for the kids, trying to get them to eat, then having to make the school lunches and go grocery shopping for the peanut butter at 11 o'clock when you realize you ran out and you got to get to the store. We just gave all that time back to parents, as well as $1,600 per child that they're saving on the school lunches. So that's another way we put money back in pockets. Inflation refund checks. Guess what? This month and next month, upwards of $400 is showing up in your pockets just in time for the holidays. That's how we're helping middle-class families, going out to 8 million households. I'm always going to keep fighting for families. And I've met people in diners and restaurants and supermarkets who just want to know that there's people who get it. My friends, the people up here get it. We're listening, and we're delivering. So we're going to keep bringing down costs and helping out families and doing everything we can. And I want to thank all of our leaders once again. But you know what? It's also just essential that we take care of our kids. And working parents are struggling so much. And I know about this because I almost was a working parent, except I couldn't find childcare. And that is still a fight that my children are facing today, young families are facing today. And I look forward to working with these leaders. And I've had conversations with Assemblymember Mamdani about how we can get to universal child care. I believe we can. I believe we have to have the will to do this. And we started that effort in my State of the State a year ago. So let's find the path forward and give people that sense of hope. There's people who understand their struggles, and make sure that we continue investing in what matters for our children, give them a healthy start in life. And so how do we get back to where we are today? I believe that revitalizing places and creating new spaces for gathering is really the key to helping our kids stay on the right path. And this Boys and Girls Club of Queen deals with affordability and safety for parents. Parents don't need to worry about where their kids are when they're here. They don't need to worry about paying for someone to watch their kids after school. This is where they come. And so I want to continue helping the dreams of this community be realized with a spectacular building that's going to be home for not just the 4,000 kids, as I mentioned, 16,000 kids. And just to help get over the finish line, I'm announcing here today $5 million in discretionary funds to build a brand new clubhouse. And we'll be welcoming families here for generations to come. A new sports arena, a swimming pool. I just saw the pool. We need a new swimming pool here. And the very first planetarium in Queens. And so how about that? But also, among my many conversations with Assemblyman Mamdani, we've also talked about the need for affordable housing. And my partners in government, our senators, Kristen Gonzalez and Mike Gianaris, they also know that this has been a huge, huge priority of ours, that we have to build more housing and give people the dignity and the safety and security of a home over their heads. That's how a family starts out. You have that basic nurturing place where you can count on security. Everybody's entitled to that. I had that as a kid, even when my parents started out living in a trailer park. You know, and I lived in a little tiny apartment, a little upstairs flat when I was little with my parents and brother. Our family kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We're Irish Catholic. We got bigger and bigger. But you know what? I never had a worry that once I got inside the doors of my house that I wouldn't be safe. Every child needs that security blanket. They'd wrap around a child. And so many of the families find themselves on the streets. The number of kids that are homeless in our shelters is just so sad for a mom or anybody. So I know we're going to build more affordable housing. We're talking in this very place, going beyond just giving parents a place to know their kids are safe after school, but now a new home for over 200 families. 200 affordable housing units will also be built on this site. And also, there's also special populations that need attention. You think about someone who didn't have that security, didn't have a stable home life, bouncing in and out of foster care their entire lives. And all of a sudden, they hit the magic age. Emancipation. You're on your own. Good luck, kid. Where are they supposed to go? They didn't have the role models. They didn't have someone making sure they got what they need. Maybe no one put them on a path for career technical education or a path toward college or a job. They need a home as well. And that's the depth of compassion we show with initiatives like this. We care about everyone in this state. And these young adults who've aged out need a place to live. So the future of this place, this magnificent place, this jewel in the community for the last 70 years, is going to shine even brighter with these investments that we're making today. And we look back, and people bring their children and grandchildren here and say, this is where I got my start. And I want to make sure that they know that there's people in this community today who care as deeply about our children as Peter Vallone's father, Judge Charles Vallone, did 70 years ago. Those people still exist who put community and families first. And so I thank everyone for joining us here today. This is the future home, I know, of successful people. Our next generation of doctors, professors, and political leaders, and anything they want to set their minds to, they're going to be able to accomplish because they had this environment. So we're going to let this happen, happening right here in Queens, and let them know that they got their start here at a place where people care about them. And I want to thank everyone who believes in the dream of this place. Let's get back together again for incredible groundbreaking, then a ribbon cutting, and then open the doors to all the children. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. And let me bring up the Deputy Majority Leader of the New York State Senate, Mike Gianaris.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let me begin by thanking Governor Hochul. You know, Governor is a big job with a lot of responsibility. There's roughly 20 million people in this state, a budget of over $250 billion, and yet she doesn't forget what's important to our communities, and that is places like this. And for her to be here today in person and to lend her support to this amazing club that's going to grow from where we're sitting is very impressive. Governor, thank you so much for not forgetting us and not forgetting our neighborhoods. And she does this all over the state, folks. It's not just here in Western Queens State. So I dare say she's the best governor this state has had in a long, long time. Thank you very much, Governor. And as the father of a one-year-old, thank you for the child tax credit increase also. I appreciate that. Also, thanks goes to a great friend and leader in this particular community for many years, Costa Constantinidis. Costa. Costa had a great tenure in public service, and he's doing amazing things for Variety right now. He knows how to get things done, and I'll give you an example. I used to represent this community for a long time, when I was in the Assembly and then my first years in the Senate, and Costa came to me and said, we want to build this building. Would you be able to lend support? He's like, take the planetarium. Can you fund the planetarium? And he happens to know I like that stuff, so I said, sure. So we did $1.5 million when I represented this community for the planetarium. Then, as fate would have it, the districts moved around and Senator Gonzalez took over, and he runs to her and gets another $1 million to finish building this place. $5 million from the governor. I know the borough president's done a lot more, and this gentleman here soon is going to be able to help a lot more in a couple of months. But it really is such a great team effort because we are all chipping in. Happy to see we have been in this space so many times for community events to see children getting the kind of help and services they need, and now we know what's going to come is going to be even brighter and better than what we've seen. It's because we're all banding together and getting it done under some great leaders. So thank you all very much for being here and supporting this great club. I now get to bring up the senator who actually represents the space now, a great colleague, Senator Kristen Gonzalez.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It is so good to be here with all of you. My name is Kristen. I'm the state senator for District 59, and I could not be more excited because this is a full circle moment. When I first took office, I actually was inaugurated right here at Variety Boys and Girls Club. And the reason we chose Variety is because we knew this was the heart of the community, because we'd seen how many families had been served, how many students had come through these doors, how many smiles, how much laughter happened right here. And since I've taken office, I've seen the number of events, both in technology, but also important giveaways like backpack giveaways and after-school programming that's happened in this space. So today, I just want to say a huge thank you. A huge thank you to our governor. Can we give her a round of applause? As another woman in office, it is so inspiring to see a mom in office living on her principles and bringing back for working families. And of course, I want to give an immense thank you to all of the electeds on this stage. This is a representation of what good government looks like, where everyone comes together, not only across levels of government, but with everyone here. As I look out, I see community leaders, I see organizers, I see the public sector and the private sector, because we're all invested in Astoria. We're all invested in the same project. And so this is representing the best of us. That's what the after-school programming is, that is what affordable housing is. And I know that in a moment where we focus on what we're losing, that actually sending a message about what we're investing in, what we're giving, and how we're setting up our next generation is really what makes New York an incredible place to live. So thank you to all of you. Again, thank you to these incredible electeds. And with that, I also want to thank and introduce an incredible champion and fighter who I have had the privilege of representing Astoria with, who I have seen shown up for those working families every single day. I want to introduce our next speaker, Zohran Mamdani. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here, and I first want to just say thank you to Governor Hochul for this investment, which will be transformative for so many that I have had the pleasure of representing as the state assembly member here in Astoria and Long Island City. And I want to say thank you to my colleagues in state government and in city government, and thank you especially to Costa Constantinides. Truly. Because as State Senator Gonzalez said, this club holds a special resonance for us here in this neighborhood. This is the very place that I knew I could always call when this community needed something. When we had to have a public testimony about the impact of Con Ed rate hikes, it was Costa that I called, and it was here that we did it. When we had to have an iftar to break fast during Ramadan and speak about the climate crisis, it was Costa that I called. And when we wanted to give away rain barrels, it was Costa that I called again. Because this is where so much of what we love about this neighborhood is made possible. And I want to thank Governor Hochul for the investment in this neighborhood, for the investment in the dream of serving the young people of this city. Because what we are talking about is nothing short of transformative. We are talking about the marriage of affordable housing with a place for children to play, and also for them to dream and explore not only their city, not only their country, but even their world as we think about a planetarium right here in Queens. So thank you to my friend, and thank you to everyone on this stage for having been such a critical part of bringing us to this moment. And I think for too long, we have told young people what they should not do. We have told them how they should not behave, where they should not go. It is a privilege and frankly an honor to stand here alongside other elected officials in a room of so many leaders across all parts of our neighborhood to tell young people what they should do, to tell them what they should go, to tell them what their dreams could look like. Thank you so much. And if we're talking about young people and queens, then we all know the adage, queens get the money. And so it would be wrong for me to not acknowledge a man who has been shouting that from the rooftops every time he sees anyone. A privilege to serve alongside him, Borough President Donovan Richards.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Assemblymember Mamdani. And of course, it's a great afternoon. I want to first acknowledge our governor. Let's give it up for our governor. Anytime I see our governor, I know it's Christmas in Queens because she is bringing a check with her. So she has the Queens Get the Money tattooed on her. And to my colleagues, this is all about partnership, as everyone has stressed. And this is, I can't think of a more important partnership than to have this one. One that, as we talk about public safety, what does public safety mean? How do you keep communities safe? Predicated on two things: stable housing and also having community spaces. And on today, I'm reminded of a young man who lived up the block from me, 13 years old, was shot and killed up the block from me. And he's being buried on a date today. So you think about how his life was cut short, but also I share that story of being a teenager having a best friend who was shot and killed right out in my neighborhood as well. So we know senseless gun violence stole him and his family, but also the individual who perpetrated and killed him as well. 2 lives lost, 2 families impacted. So that tragic, gut-wrenching news reminds us that we must do so much more to invest in our young people. And I want to say this because this is why this is so critical, Governor, what you're doing here to close this project out. You think about how much we spend as a city to house one individual on Rikers Island. And that is $550,000 a year to house one person on Rikers Island. But think about what we could do with that money. We could invest in free education, affordable housing. We could send kids to college for free, but we're choosing mass incarceration across this city, in this country. So this is what this is about. It's about saving lives. And this particular Boys and Girls Club has done that for 70 years. You think about how many lives have been saved. People from Astoria houses to Queensbridge houses, young people who may not have permanent housing, our immigrants who've come into this community. This center has served everyone. And no matter what your socioeconomic status is, your zip code, you deserve to have quality community spaces like this. Congratulations to our young people. I want y'all to stand, the young people in here, because this is a sound investment in you. This is an investment in you. This is what it's about. All right, now y'all put y'all cell phones away. Y'all can be seated. But let me just end in saying thank you, Governor, for this $5 million. Costa has accosted me many times on the streets, over drinks, in restaurants. We got to get this done. I'm happy that I put $10 million into this project. Now, true story before I bring Costa up. Costa and I debated in this place for borough president. We had a debate, but we both won. And I often said it during that campaign that if it wasn't me, it had to be him. It had to be him, because I know it's hard. And let me just say, vision is the art of seeing what's invisible to other people. You had a vision, brother. But it's one thing to have a vision and then turn it into a reality. So I couldn't be prouder to bring up now, and of course I have to say Queens get the money. Governor, keep it coming. We got more money coming. But let me just bring up my brother, my friend, someone who's been a confidant, someone who's a visionary, who wears his heart on his sleeve, who cares about these young people and communities intimately, who texts at 1 a.m., I need another $5 million. He just never stops. It gives me great honor to bring up my brother, truly my brother, the one and only, Costa Constantinidis.
So the borough president's wife said to me about a month ago, she's like, you know, my D3, their son, really thinks Nico is his cousin because of how close we are, how family we are. And I really want to shout out, thank you, Governor Hochul, for this investment. Thank you so very much. Thank you to Senator Gianaris, Senator Gonzalez, Assemblymember Mamdani, Borough President Donovan Richards. The work that you're doing today is going to echo decades from now. I want to shout out quickly our board members, Milko Camposano, our board president, Walter Sanchez, whose vision this was, Steve Zimmerman, Kitty Prager, Rob Mackay, Dino Ansoulis. I know our board of governors, Tom Gretsch, Pete Rose, Will Fisher, Kelly Craig, Maria Wilpon. So many of you here. If I missed one of you, my apologies. But, you know, Governor Hochul, you're going to be changing the lives of the young people here in Western Queens. And we're going to have our school here as well, Renaissance Charter School. But we're going to have the largest Boys and Girls Club in the country. 1 out of 4 young people who attend the Boys and Girls Club in the state of New York will be coming through these doors thanks to you. We are going to be able to provide them with the first planetarium in Queens, a 1,500-seat arena, a regulation pool, a theater, art spaces, incubator spaces. We're going to be able to have them find their passions so that generations from now, they're going to look back on the legacy of Peter Vallone Sr.'s dad and smile knowing for the next 70 years we'll be okay. And then with 236 units of housing, with 69 set aside for kids aging in foster care, with ICL and Mega making it happen for us, we're going to be able to serve every family here and serve them in a way that's equitable and fair. So from the bottom of my heart, Governor Hochul, thank you on behalf of everyone here at Variety. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. And this concludes our program.